Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now we are about to end the month, transition to August, moving right through the summer. But before we do, we must, as always, honor the Riddler and do our Q&A to close out the month. You know, the Riddler goes up, you drop your questions down below, and we hit them the order they came in on. We're talking about everything from Tigers baseball. We're talking about the best ecosystem as a bank overall, best cashback setup per bank, all that and more. We do tend to go super long here, but we want to give everyone a thorough answer. So chapters 2 down below, feel free to hop around as your heart desires, but without further ado, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. So, batting leadoff is Mr. Red Sox Nation with an actual question. Do you think Tigers should trade Jack Flaherty or, dare I say it, Scooble by the trade deadline after the vid comes out, in a few after this vid comes out? I mean, I don't know a ton. I don't even know who this Flaherty guy is. I've heard Scooble. I think he's like one of our better guys, but we're like in this perpetual rebuild stage, it seems, right? We're hovering around 500 from what the news tells me. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, the question is, how many times can you keep clearing the deck thinking it's going to work is the thing. So, I mean, if they have a plan, if there's someone else they can trade for him, then sure. If it's just like another salary dump to reset, well, then I'm not really convinced this one would go any differently than anything else. But at the same time, you know, being 500 doesn't really do anything because it's not good enough to get a great draft pick, and you don't make the playoffs, or you do and you get bounced in the first round. So I would gotta say, first, before they start selling off parts once again, you gotta have an actual plan, a game plan of how they're going to build this roster, build this team, because it seems like 500 is about the best they can do, and it's been that way from some years now. I don't know enough to start naming you players they could pick up the trade deadline. I'm just telling you from what I see, it seems like they've been average or terrible going between those two for many, many years now. So there you go. Weigh in with your hot stove tips down below for Red Sox Nation here. Snark and Spades is next up. Now that Walmart and Capital One breakup is almost complete, do you think Walmart will go back to Synchrony, who still has Sam's Club card in the port, or with someone else? Also, do you think the quality of Capital One's customer service being aired in court helps or harms their chances for Discover acquisition? Walmart, again, Walmart was leaving because they said it was really bad customer service to cardholders about, turn times to get replacement cards, answering questions, bills going out, things like that. I think Walmart or Capital One said we're still within SLA or service level agreement. With Walmart, we also thought they wanted to break up and go do their own thing entirely, So if they end up with Synchrony, it's possible. Synchrony might be a placeholder, short-term deal, if you will. I don't hear equally as great things about Synchrony, as no one loves when the credit card's issued by Synchrony, so I don't know how that's an improvement on partner or anything like that. I would consider that a fumble on their part, an error, if you will, to go back to the baseball question, to end up with Synchrony. But again, maybe they don't have any problems with the Sam's Club card, so they might do it. Then the question is, would it really be as good as the outgoing Walmart card? Probably not. I could see that as a short-term placeholder while they either figure out, do they want to bring it in-house and do their own thing, or do they want to try to go after another big partner. I mean, I think Chase is really the best at partnership cards, in my opinion, non-travel partnership cards. I could see Bank of America in the mix as well. Wells Fargo, I would have said, but we know at least they've said, or is rumored, that they were pausing on new partnerships while they sort out the Bilt rewards things. Bank of America, it's probably about time for them to build up their portfolio again. Citi, I don't know. No one ever knows what Citi's doing. The last partnership card they introduced, the newest one, was the AT&T card. It's terrible, so I don't know. I guess I could see it happening. I hope it's more of a stopgap than anything else, a placeholder, if you will. I think it has no impact at all on the Discover merger going through. I think it's a dollar game and a regulatory approval thing. As long as it gets regulatory approval, it's been accepted by shareholders. As long as it gets a regulatory approval, then I think it goes through. I don't think Capital One bought Discover in the least bit for customer service. Discover customer service, though, is good. I've talked about it before. I have a Discover Cash card. I've had to call them a few times to get some things sorted out. I pick up on the first ring, so no complaints there. But I think the Capital One move is to get their payment network, bring that in-house. They're probably going to leave the two brands separate, so I don't think that it has any impact. If anything, it should Capital One should go across the street and learn customer service from their new partner Discover, but I don't think it has any impact on the regulators. Regulators are more concerned with competition in the market, price fixing, freedom of choice, things like that, customers, and getting rid of consolidation of major players removes those things. Regulators don't really get into, like, at least from what I've seen, how each company's treating someone, because again, if I give you more options and they can treat you poorly and you have more options, so I don't think that affects it at all. Sean credit here. Here we go. Where do you think Capital One is headed? Ending the Saver card, transitioning folks from Walmart cards to Quicksilver cards, and possible Discover acquisition. Well, they're headed somewhere because we're talking about them a lot. So they did end the Saver card, but that's like one of the more clickbaity headlines out there from the standpoint of, like, the Saver had a $95 option they'd love to sell you, and then a free option. And like the quote, we talked about it on Sunday, but the quote was something to the effect of, like, we're listening to our customers. No one wants to buy the $95 one because, one, it was like it punches up the dining and grocery, I think from 3x to 4x. 4x isn't worth $95. It's one extra point is not worth $95. So it doesn't. If you're going through the portfolio, maybe it's because you're bringing on Discover, planning to, so you want to pare down your portfolio a little bit. And sure, they're keeping the $95 cards for those who have them, because why stop people from paying you money? But it's still one less product to support on the front end, one less product paged upkeep, one less product managed dedicated. Sure, you have to run the back end, but the back end is probably the exact same as the back end for the regular Saver card. So it's probably simplicity there. So I don't take much into that. Of course, I wish they would just mush them into one and say the 4X card is now free. That would have been the move. But we can only get what we want here. Can't only get so much. Walmart card, they must have negotiated part of the early release and saying they were keeping the full portfolio. Because, we've seen, Apple wants to leave Goldman Sachs, and, Apple's taking that full portfolio to wherever they sign, presumably. Now, that's kind of because Goldman didn't really want to keep it anymore. They're probably trying to get out of consumer banking. But, they could have either stayed or gone with them. If it's going to stay, I can see Capital, because I think Capital One had to let them out of the deal early. There were some other things that went into that. So, but still, I think that the easiest comp was to move them over to Quicksilver cards. It sucks because you're going from a useful card to a useless card, but that's not really Capital One's concern, honestly. So that was the easiest option. So where are they going? I think Capital One, they're still requiring Discover for the payment network piece of it. That makes a lot of sense. That's probably the only reason. They are a bank. They could have made their own 5% category card if they wanted to. So I don't really think it's for the products. I think it's for the customer base, cash on hand, and the payment network is probably the crown jewel of what they have. Level of diversification, we can see the action going around payment networks right now, especially if that bill gets passed where cards have to come with two payment networks like Visa Discover or Visa Amex. That could be a huge play. My opinion, Capital One's always struggled with their customers outgrowing them, and they've struggled with customer service, and they've struggled with making their rules easy to understand. Granted, not a lot of banks make their rules easy to understand, but there's a reason we know Bank of America is 312 or 712 or 524 or Amex Pop Jail. Capital One has always been all over the place. So I still stand that that's the thing they need to tighten up. Tighten up your own house and then start to expand out more would be my thing for Capital One. But these changes on the whole, I don't think they're crazy. I think they're housekeeping type deals. Could be wrong, though. I do think the Discover thing will go through. Kari here. Why is American Airlines and Hyatt so important in the travel credit card game? What's the hype all about? You're asking me? Well, American is, one of the three of the big legacy carriers, between Delta and United is the other. So there's a good amount of people coming out of an American hub. Number one. I think number two, American they play a little bit hard to get, and they're not a true transfer partner with anyone. They flirted with Citi. They flirted with Bilt over the past summer. You can get American cards, of course, but transfer partners doesn't make sense. So it makes their points currency a little bit harder to get. Hyatt, my experience, again, people love Hyatt because of Chase, and it's so easy to accumulate Hyatt points via Ultimate Reward points. The handful of Hyatts I've stayed at, it did feel like their categories, their lower tier categories, maybe 4s and 5s, you can keep me honest on this, match up better with higher Marriott categories. For the price, I felt like when I went to Hyatt, I got a little bit nicer property than I would for the same price at a Marriott. Marriott has a lot of standard stuff, Courtyards, Fairfields, that whole thing, but I feel like Hyatt was a little bit better. Again, I haven't been to all of them. I'm only talking a handful. I think people like that. Also, with the two, it's harder to get Hyatt, was it globalist status? They just don't give it away. So if you have that status, it potentially means more than the fact that, you could be Marriott or Hilton. They give away just about all their statuses. And even some of their statuses, they do give away, like gold on the platinum card. I have a business platinum at the moment. I was at a Marriott this past week in Chicago, and their little lounge thing for breakfast, well, wouldn't you know it excludes gold members. Why? Probably because gold is handed out so easy. Gold doesn't even mean anything. So I think their status could mean more. You could get more just because of I'll call it exclusivity, but that would be my guess. Are they overhyped? Probably. I think Marriott's the best simply because it has common partners or common players between Chase and American Express, which makes it much easier to earn them, and Marriott's are everywhere. But again, there's not, in my opinion, that price, that value prop that I've seen with Hyatts. Again, I haven't been to a ton, but I think the ones the categories are just a little bit in Hyatt's favor, in my opinion. But again, you're asking the cashback guy, so I'd love for other people to weigh in down below. Badger here, what are your favorite watches, brands that are more understated and elegant? I come from an Omega family, but I've lately taken liking to the Grand Seiko. Spring drives, seems like we have a lot in common. Maybe I should join the Discord. You should absolutely join the Discord. I'll plug it after this. I like Omega. Omega is probably my favorite watch brand. I do think Omega makes a much better watch than Rolex does, much more value for the money. Now, the value piece is starting to go away because if you're Omega, which sits under, Richemont? No, Omega sits under Swatch Group. You're looking at Rolex and, you're charging how much money? You're charging $10,000 for a Submariner, a time date watch. Well, I can charge that much too, but, Omega does this thing where, they'll just give you stuff, right? They won't hold back pieces of their best design. So, for example, in this Sea Dweller here, they have something called Glide Lock, where you can really micro adjust your bracelet to fit. It's my biggest watch, heaviest watch, but it's still my most comfortable because you can do that. Well, Rolex says, well, yeah, but why would we ever want to put that on a GMT? Because the function of this originally was if you need to put on a dive suit or something, you can move it out without resizing the tools. So Rolex says, why would you ever need a glide lock on a GMT? That doesn't make any sense. As where Omega, if it's got a clasp like this, a fold over one, they'll put the glide lock in it. I think you get a lot more optionality. Plus, there's something to be said that their watches are easy to get and they're on the secondary market. They're super affordable. So I really like Omega. I think Rolex makes the best only watch, though. But to your question, we probably have the same taste. So, if I was looking around, if you want super high and understated, elegant, I think Lange is super underrated, and they should probably be in the high horology, the Holy Trinity. Now, that's going to break the bank by a mile or two, so I wouldn't say go out and get one, really, but I think they should be in there as well. IWC has some good things, especially if you want a moon phase or something like that. I don't know about understated, but I do feel like IWC has a lot going on for it. Certain lines, certain level of complications that I do like. I don't think they get enough love. And I would throw Frederico Talks Watches is a good channel for just a blunt guy who runs his own watch dealer to talking. He's into a brand called Moser. I don't like them enough to buy them. Every so often he'll have a Moser on there, but he had one this red dial and it's black towards the edges. It looked super clean. It was definitely understated because it was a time only on leather. He had this emerald dial and a red one. I think they've got a blue one too. I think they're an independent maybe. They were understated, but one of those if you know type deals. Again, I wouldn't buy any of those. I'd probably consider IWC, but I wouldn't buy them. But if you want understated and elegant, those are ones that I've seen. Price points, I have no idea. But honestly, with Omega, I think you're good. That World Timer is an underrated watch for sure. So I would, I don't think you can go wrong there. Michael here, man, Riddler got that drip and the school guy sunglasses. I think from what the kids say, that's a good thing. He means the Riddler's looking sharp. So Thank you, sir. I was supposed to plug the channel membership, so I'll just do that on Michael's question. So we do have channel memberships. It's a Discord server shared between this channel and the second channel run on the bank. $5 a month, cancel anytime. The gist of it is, bringing the best bonus hunters of the game together to not only find offers around the country together, refer one another in group. I know I've just signed up for one that a channel member found me as a credit union. We just say, hey, this is my family member, or whatever, right? But also to use member links and videos and blog posts, right? And then the member gets to keep all that money. So the idea is that you'll just, at minimum, you'll make your membership back every year. Anything else is extra. It's a lot of fun. We're about 80 people strong right now. It's going pretty well. I will say is this is the main page. It does work much, much, much better if you're into bank promotions. Credit cards, the problem is we all have the same credit cards already, so there's really only so much referring you can do there. But, if bank bonuses are more profitable, in my opinion, so definitely check it out. Maybe start with checking out the blog. We're on profitablecontent.com, link down below if you have the second channel. And then if you like that, then consider joining up. But of course, we'd be happy to have you, even if you don't want bonus. Some people join because they like the community, questions answered, data points, that whole thing. But it's definitely the join button down below will tell you more, won't necessarily just make you join. So thank you for considering joining. I hope to see you over there. Grand Marf Tarkin himself, what is your most unique or coolest debit card from playing the game? Easy. There was this bank called, it's like Tree Card or Tree something. I'll look up the name, put it on screen, but the gist of it was like, you earn points and stuff, and then you can like plant trees if you're into that, whatever. And their debit card is actually wood. It's like a thin piece of wood. And I won't be able to show you through the camera. I'll take a picture of it. It's not, I don't have it on me, but it's a thin piece of wood. You can feel it. And that's probably easily the most unique debit card that I've gotten. They also sent me a tiny little plant when I signed up. I gave it to my mom. I think she still has it. She waters it and everything. So there's that. Funny enough, they didn't end up paying me though. You were supposed to earn these points for doing stuff, and you could cash them out for like $5 or $10. It wasn't much money, which probably again never stops me. But for whatever reason, they made it difficult to cash out the points for money, and then they actually ended up folding. Surprise, surprise. But by far, a debit card out of wood I have not seen before, and that is probably the most unique one easily that I can remember seeing. Others would be just design, like who put a cool design or a colorway on it, but actual material wise, that the wooden one has to win. But they didn't make it. They didn't pay me, so they can go take a running leap, or I guess they did. Cool debit card though. Average Joe, RJ, keep up the good work. Thanks for knowledge you provide. Of course, is Barclays worth doing business with in your opinion? I mean, I have nothing against Barclays. Like, I don't mean like doing business in like what context, right? I guess doing business as far as you want some of their credit cards, or they had a savings promotional offer a while back and you want those, by all means, you should do that. I don't discriminate the banks I take money from. Again, Tree Bank or Tree, whatever it was called in the last question from Grand Moff Tarkin himself. So yeah, from that standpoint, sure. I would not hesitate. I mean, again, I sign up for anything. I know there are people who are anti-Wells Fargo. I'm still really big on Wells Fargo products. I think they're much better, so I do it. It's kind of like your comfort level. There are a lot of, I will say, like, I haven't done anything with Barclays yet. I've famously called them the junk drawer of credit cards. So I'd say, if nothing else, get a promo offer, stick with it, see if you like it. I mean, that's generally what promo offers are for, to test out a new product, and then you can decide if you want to stay or not. There are some banks that are god-awful, like PNC. Like, no, I wouldn't do that because their user interface sucks. So it's like one level, like, how are you going to know unless you actually try it out? But, product-wise, I think it's fine to go try it and check it out. I think you just, maybe if you're talking about moving to deposit accounts, just test it out and see. Don't move all your money, move a few dollars over there, see how you like it. If it's a credit card, same thing. See, especially the Wyndham. I know people love the Wyndham card. I don't hear bad things about that, so that would be my reference point. I don't hear anything bad about it. People generally want the Wyndham Business Rewards or Earner, whatever it's called, the dark blue one. So yeah, I would say minimum. Why not? I've never discriminated from banks, even ones I'm like, this is probably going to go poorly. I do it anyway. So by all means, I say do that. Then how much business you want to do, probably base that over time, right? If you're just there for a smash and grab, well, whatever, easy enough. If you want a long-term relationship with them, we'll just start feeling it out slowly, see how it goes. If anyone's done long-term work with Barclays, let us know down below and help out our guy. But that's kind of how I look at it. Brady Smith, who is a channel member. Nice to see that lovely logo. RJ, we'll be seeing you in New Orleans over Labor Day. I need to learn from Master how to pick up the females. It's funny. I messaged Luke the other day in Discord. I'm like, all right, buddy, what are the details, brother? Because I was like, last time I waited to like the end to book everything. But I do forget people with families and loved ones, people at home who don't sit alone, need time to plan. So yes, I will be going Labor Day. I haven't booked anything. I've just begun the process of asking Luke, hey, where are the, because what happens is these fat cats on YouTube with their metal credit cards, they stay at like the Ritz-Carltons and the Waldorfs. And then me, the little people, we stay down in Fairfield or the whatever, the Econo Lodge, whatever we can get, really. So I got to figure that out. But yes, I will be there to say hello to anyone who wants to come and hang out and chat. I don't know if a single woman came last time. Mandy came, that counts, but she's spoken for, so I don't know what to do about that. But yeah, you know what? We get shooters gonna shoot, right, in all aspects of life. So let's just let's get our shots up. I'll show you a thing or two, man. And I don't know, bring a lot of metal cards to compensate for my lack of game. But I will be there nonetheless. All right, credit card connection. All right, well, thank you. You are without question the king of cashback. Which bank issuer has the best cashback cards in your opinion? Amex, Bank of America, Chase, or Wells? Well, I mean, out of the list you gave me, it can't be Amex because they suck and they cap everything. Even 3X cards have a yearly cap on them, so they're out easily. Bank of America, base Bank of America cards, again, I couldn't say yes because their whole thing is designed to be around preferred rewards. But the problem with preferred rewards is even at Platinum Honors, all it does really is make their cards competitive. Sure, 5.25 over 5, and they're still good cards, but just on the base level of cards, I think Bank of America is out because it helps, but it doesn't. It just makes them where they arguably should be to begin with, right? So it can't be Chase because Chase avoids any category that you could do any amount of damage in, like the plague. I mean, yeah, they use the Freedom and the Freedom Flex to, protect against, saying we don't offer gas, we don't offer groceries. They do just once a year, quarterly, right? The Freedom Unlimited not being a 2X card, I understand why they do it, but it still doesn't help our argument here. The benefit that Chase has over anyone else is that Chase will give you as many Freedom cards as you can get your hands on. So many of us do forget that Chase on its own is kind of meh, honestly. It's really, Chase is pulled up greatly by their whatever, do whatever you want. Sure, I have 5 freedoms and they don't care. Sure, you go to the gift cards, I don't care. Then Chase becomes dangerous, but just on its own, not really amazing unless you, again, want to go through Travel Portal. Citi, you didn't put it in there. Citi, the same kind of deal. I mean, custom cash is good, double cash is good. Premier, I don't know, costs money. It's not bad by any means, but when you move over to Wells Fargo, that's when it gets interesting. So base level, active cash, 2%, covered. Plain Jane autograph card. A lot of 3X in there. Dining, groceries, gas, that whole thing I think is in there. I haven't looked at it in a while, but a lot of 3X categories. Then, if you want to stay in cashback land, you can bring in the new Attune card, which again is kind of niche, but in this game for us, I don't think it is. But there's a good amount of 4X in there that you can squeeze out of that thing. And then if you want travel, I believe the Journey card is the best travel cashback card from the standpoint of you don't really care about Wells transfer partners. You could use their portal if you wanted to, but really the Journey card is for someone like me who would say, yep, I want to get a high multiplier in hotels at 4 and airlines at 5 or whatever it is, but I don't really want to do the points thing. I still want cash back. The Journey card's there, and for like $50 a year after you cash in the credit, you'll be fine. So I think by process of elimination, honestly, we're down to Wells Fargo. You can get probably the most 3 and 4X for free with Wells Fargo, your bottom being 2. And then, of course, if you want to bring in a little bit more travel, you can do the Journey as well. And there's not nearly a ton of overlap as you think. So running through it, I think it is Wells Fargo. Again, I said it when all those videos came out. If Chase had done the Attune card, if Chase had done the Journey card, if they were painted blue, we would have lost our collective minds. But because it was Wells Fargo, we're like, I don't know. Those are good cards. And I think the Journey is a solid card. So I'm going to go Wells Fargo. And I don't think it's close. I think the only thing Wells Fargo is missing is the name cachet, which is weird because even though they've done all the nonsense they've done, they're still a Power 5 in banking. I think they're what Chase, Bank of America, then like Wells Fargo. They're still like number 3. So I mean, sure, we can be mad, but how mad are we really if they're still like number 3, the $1 trillion balance sheet? So Wells Fargo, I think, not even as hard as you think of a question, honestly. But thank you as always for being here, sir, because you always write in. We appreciate that. Not the real Joker. Where's the real one at then? Would you consider making a video on going all in on one bank's ecosystem, how to maximize reward services when it makes sense? So, I mean, it's not a bad topic. I think we know the answer in the beginning that there's only one bank that it probably matters through and through and like to this audience. And like we've done that one. And it's Bank of America's Preferred Rewards. So I've got a few on those in a Bank of America playlist on the home page in a Bank of America playlist. But Bank of America, again, is a relationship bank, so they say if you give us more money, we'll give you more things, which is cool in its own right. But Bank of America, the things that other ones don't do, Bank of America gives it to you across the product line. Now, is their pricing better? Like I did a long-term review of my year in preferred rewards, and I'm not going to give you credit for making a checking account free, savings account free. But again, they do give you like, $500-$600 origination credit on your mortgage. Again, you can get those anywhere. I came from Rocket Mortgage, and free $500 off your closing like any day of the week at any time. That promotion was always going. So the point is, Bank of America at least extends to credit cards, and their relationship does impact the vast majority of products that we would want. Citi and U.S. Bank have also gone into this relationshipy mode, right? Where Citi's like, hey, we got rid of they used to have account packages. Now they just have like 1 or 2 different account products, and it's based on how much money you have with them, and they give you different perks. But it's a lot less. At least again, Bank of America is giving you product pricing. Citi is again like, well, I know this because I just made it or taped a video on a new Citi promotion, like, to waive the account fee on Access Checking, like $30,000 in the bank. Well, again, like I'm not giving you credit for giving me a free checking account. And sure, there's some price extensions other places, but it doesn't really make sense. U.S. Bank, the same thing. Some free accounts here and there, but it doesn't really extend to anything else really. Now the U.S. Bank, I think, at least has a tie-in that like if you have certain credit cards, they will waive the fee as well. But on the con to Bank of America is that, as we said earlier, all they're really doing is making their cards competitive again. Because if I talk about Citi, in fairness, Citi does have a 5% card. U.S. Bank does have a 5% card and a 4% card and a few other cards that people really like. Is where Bank of America doesn't have any of those unless you have the relationship. So it is probably a good video to look at the ecosystems across the board. I think people like this are going to do a lot better if you pick and choose your products by bank that you want. None of those 3 ecosystems really offer anything worth staying for, honestly. They just don't. Again, I have Bank of America. I keep it for the credit cards, and that's great. But I don't know, you could find better pricing somewhere else. But if you had to pick an ecosystem, who is the strongest ecosystem offering? Again, I guess it's Bank of America, simply because they give you the most options, even though it might not be the best pricing. But again, the person picking this isn't going to be shopping around anyways. So all that to say, it probably is a good topic. We can throw it on the list. I got to figure out how to present it and everything, but we can do it, So thank you for the idea. I hope the short answer did help. All right, last one. Well, I say that, but I should probably refresh. Bruce Lee Credit. That's a fun name. Has the gold card recovered more of its prestige now that the large group of card holders are canceling it because of the incoming fee increase? Amex for lifer, gold card defender of Her Royal Majesty. My thoughts on the gold card refresh were like, meh. I mean, meh from the standpoint of, we were never going to like it. Of course we weren't going to like it because the $250 version worked for everyone. And the coupons were manageable. The Uber trick if you want. It's not even a trick really, but you know how to use the Uber and you know how to use the dining credit. So it was fine. It had 2 powerhouse multipliers on there, 4 back each, dining and groceries. Does this bring back the prestige? No, I think the gold card's probably like the loss leader for American Express because it was the easiest to max out. Of course, now we know that because dining is now capped at 50 grand a year, which is really easy for me to say 50 grand a year. I wouldn't even touch that. But again, in the hot markets, target markets that Amex is going for, 50 grand a year might not really be that big of a deal. Clearly, they're telling us there's a line there somewhere. I think it does what Amex always does. It's been a few years. We've perfected our coupon model of like, we'll raise the price, we'll get some people to kick in for it of our marketing dollars to offset, and then, we'll be losing less money as a result. I don't think there's anything in the change that, if the gold card was working for you before, I don't think it's ruined by any means. It's a little bit more annoying, sure. The $7 donut credit every month help you? Probably not. Can you use it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know all over the place, but like out here, like, Northeast for sure, Midwest even, there's Dunkin' Donuts all over the place. You can just get coffee at a different place. I mean, sure, right? It's fine. How do you want to value it? I don't know, but you can do it. The Resi thing's probably a bit annoying because, most people don't really care for that, but they've also, again, set it up so you don't have to use all the credit. So does it bring back the prestige? I don't think it was ever prestigious. I mean, there's a perception of prestige. It'll have a prestigious run when the white gold version gets out there because I do think people will like that, and that was a smart move on Amex's part to have the prestige, like, have the unique colorway again, like we saw with Rose, like we saw with the Delta cards, that whole thing. So I think it'll have a run again. I don't think it changes a whole lot. Honestly, I think, again, if it worked before, it'll probably work for you now. If you want to cancel the card, by all means, cancel it. If you're canceling it, then I think really what you're saying is this card never truly worked for you. And again, remember, even Uncle Luke told me this. He's like, the Amex cards, really, there's one of two reasons. You can have the Platinum card because you simply like some things it offers and it makes life better, and that's fine. You don't have to lie to yourself about the effective annual fee. You can just say, look, I like having the lounges when I go to the airport. To me, that's worth $700. If I can offset some of it, so be it. That's a perfectly valid reason to have something. And, my point is, unless you're traveling a specific way, redeeming these points in a specific way, then Amex cards don't make a lot of sense for a lot of people, other than the perception of flex in the Royal Majesty, as you say. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, there'll be a lot of thumbnails with fire behind them and people freaking out. I see the change. I'm kind of like, meh. I think it could have been a lot worse. Going into it, no one was going to love it because it's more money. It could have been a lot worse. Sure, it could have been better, but it was never going to be better. So I think it's meh, and the gold card is fine. And I don't know, I'm just kind of over it, over the Amex stuff. They're not personally for me, and that's fine. So there you go. Keep making your Majesty proud, and I will probably make fun of it even though I said the mature thing. So there you go. Those are all of your questions answered. So thank you so much for writing in. Of course, if you need further detailed comment or a good old-fashioned debate or discussion, feel free to drop it down below. But of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below, and consider, if you found it interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, as we're posting content just like this every single week. And of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance, and every single day over on ProfitableContent.com, the channel's blog, as we've talked about. Always linked down below for you with the latest news stories, credit card promotions like the gold card if you want to get in before the fee increase hits, and bank promotions if you want to start earning, and of course, channel members as well. We'd love to see you over on all of it. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.